Hey guys, and welcome back to FPL TV. Before starting today, this video has very kindly been sponsored by Spitch. Put your fantasy management skills to the test every match day, compete against others and win real prizes. If you haven't tried the Spitch app before, then once again Gameweek 31 is a perfect time to do so, with some great prizes up for grabs in their free-to-enter Premier League competition for the upcoming game week. It's completely free to download and enter, so download the app now using the link in the description box below. Get registered and start building your perfect 11 for Gameweek 31. Now back to FPL, and let's see how my side performed in a very small blank Gameweek 30. In the opening fixture of Gameweek 30, Wolves vs Leeds, I had 4 players. And considering I put in lots of planning to be prepared for this blank game week, I was certainly hoping to reap the rewards here and get off to a solid start. Sadly though, that Friday night fixture couldn't have gone any worse, with Rafinha missing out completely, Raul Jimenez blanking and getting sent off before 60 minutes for a -2, and then his sending off then culminating in Wolves collapsing and conceding 3 goals, reducing both Cody and Sarr to 1 point apiece. This meant that from the 4 players in that fixture, I started the game week with 0 points. Pitiful. The next fixture that my squad had a lot of interest in for Game Week 30 was Arsenal vs Aston Villa. Initially, I had 5 players for that one, but with Luca Digne then getting injured in the previous game week, that left me with 4. I did consider replacing Luca Digne, but during the blank game week I wasn't bowled over by any replacements, so I opted in the end to roll with the free transfer and therefore take 2 into the international break. This game also went fairly horrendously for my side, with all of Coutinho, Ramsey and Lacazette blanking in Arsenal's 1-0 victory. And the worst part was, the player to score the only goal in this game was the outstanding and extremely popular FPL option Bukayo Saka, so another very unwanted outcome for my side. To be fair, Kieran Tierney did manage a clean sheet here, one of only 2 players to return for me last game week, and his 6-point return did at least shield the damage done by Saka a bit. So with 2 games of the 4 down, and with just 2 players left to go for me, I was at this point sitting on an abysmal 11 points, seemingly a very damaging game week. Fortunately though, it wasn't all doom and gloom, because my captain Son Heung-min bagged the brace against West Ham and single-handedly salvaged a very difficult week, outscoring Harry Kane in the process. Harry Kane was too outstanding in that fixture, assisting all 3 goals, and in FPL terms that did take the shine off Son's hull slightly. However, last week I was very close to selling Son for Harry Kane for a hit, and ultimately had I done that, that would have resulted in points dropped, so I was certainly relieved to see Son do the business. For me now, I think it's a case of if I do want Harry Kane in my squad, then it's going to have to be in addition to Son, rather than one or the other. So for Game Week 30, thanks to, for the most part, Son Heung-min, I finished on a disappointing score of 43. Considering I put lots of planning into this game week, it definitely felt a pretty unfortunate one to me, with the likes of Digne getting injured, Rafinha missing out completely, and most of all Jimenez getting sent off, all rather unlucky. With that said, I'm relieved at least to have captained Son, who before the game week I wasn't feeling all that confident about, and with him then ending as the highest scorer for the blank game week, at least that went in my favour. It was a poor week, but the drop in rank wasn't too difficult to stomach. A drop from 20k to 26k isn't huge, especially considering the 2 players I really didn't want to haul in Saka and Kane both did, so captaining Son certainly helped here with damage limitation. Let's move on to Game Week 31 now and look at my current team lineup, as well as discussing some potential transfer moves. Now for Game Week 31, unfortunately I am having to upload this video extremely early, with a lot of time still to go until the next Game Week deadline, and also a lot of international games still to be played. For this reason, it's going to be difficult to be concrete on my transfer moves this week, and that's of course going to heavily depend as well on injury updates to a lot of players. In my team specifically, that's Ramsdale, Trent and Digne, who I assume will all be okay, but I don't know yet for sure. The reason I'm uploading this video so early on this occasion is that because it is the international break, it's therefore a great chance for me to take a holiday away, and for this I therefore won't be around to create a video next week. My apologies for that. So, although I can't say for sure what my moves will be for Game Week 31, I can at least do my best to talk you through my thought process heading into it. I'll then as always post any confirmed changes over on the FPL TV Twitter page shortly before the Game Week deadline. The first thing in my mind in terms of transfers is that it's now confirmed that all 3 of Leeds, Aston Villa and Wolves will all blank in Game Week 33. And with me having no less than 7 players from those 3 teams, as well as having no more chips to utilise, my priority definitely has to be letting go of players from those teams in the following weeks. With Jimenez picking up that red card and therefore getting suspended, and with him not performing well in general anyway, I guess he's the easiest sell for me this week. and whatever transfer moves I do make, he'll certainly be one of the players to make way. I think my decision this week isn't just who to bring in, but more which direction to take my team for the final game weeks, especially considering I've got no chips left now and therefore have to be sure I'm happy with my moves for the long term. The first direction to take my team in is to finally accommodate Harry Kane up front this week, and with 2 free transfers available, this can be done fairly easily. To get Kane, it would be a case of downgrading Jimenez to a budget forward and then upgrading Lacazette to the Spurs man. For the budget forward, of course opting for a 4.5 million bench warmer is tempting, just to extract as much money from up front as possible. Though to give me stronger cover on my bench, at 5 million, Watford's Cucho Hernandez could be a very handy budget option for the end of season run-in. He's in decent form, one of the game's cheapest playing forwards, and does boast some decent home fixtures in the final 8 game weeks, so he could be worth the extra 0.5 as a budget enabler. It would of course be a shame to lose Lacazette, but at the same time I've currently got 3 Arsenal players, and I've been looking for an excuse to free up one of those spots. Freeing up that 3rd Arsenal spot would therefore allow me to buy Bukayo Saka instead, who's in the form of his life at the moment and is providing significantly better value. After making the move for Harry Kane for free, I could then bring Saka in immediately this week as well, with either Coutinho or Rafinha making way for a -4. So that's the one direction I could take my team this week, and probably the direction I'm leaning more towards. However, for the other, it once again comes down to whether to Harry Kane or not Harry Kane. The only drawback of buying Kane is of course the big investment of 12.5 million that comes with it, and the worry there is then therefore not having much money left to invest in other areas of my squad, most notably my defence. The premium defenders like Andy Robertson and João Cancelo have offered such incredible value this season, and opting for Kane now in addition to Son means making these types of upgrades in my defence a lot more difficult. So that's basically what I'm trying to weigh up during this break, whether it's worth committing to Kane up front or simply downgrading Jimenez and then using that money to go big at the back. I'd also put the likes of Reece James in this category as well, another defender that when fit offers superb value, especially given Chelsea's kind run of Premier League fixtures coming up. The thing I'm keeping in mind with all 3 of Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea though, is that it's important not to forget just how crazy their schedules are away from the Premier League. All 3 of them are currently competing still on so many fronts this season, with huge clashes coming up in the Champions League and domestic cups in the next few weeks. I'm also keeping in mind that both Cancelo and Robertson do face each other in Gameweek 32, which may not be the best time to own them. This for me is what does separate the Kane and Saka transfers. It's the fact that Tottenham and Arsenal have no other competitions to worry about now. So with me having to look at the longer term, I feel like right now, at least with them, I don't need any concerns with regards to fatigue or rotation. I'm still pretty set on transferring in Harry Kane this week, and then perhaps I can look at other ways to bring in Robertson or Cancelo in a future game week once they've got their fixture against each other out of the way. If I am reluctantly not able to accommodate Robertson further down the line, then his teammate Joel Matip at just 4.9 million is someone firmly on my radar, and he could be my budget way into this solid Liverpool defence if I do commit to affording Kane up front. So, as mentioned, unfortunately not so concrete with my moves this week, but because it's so early and I had to get a video out, I've done my best to explain the different team structures that I'm weighing up. Hopefully it gives you an idea of the players I'm most strongly considering, and as per usual, the confirmed transfers will be posted over on Twitter. The plan now is to first wait for any injury updates late into next week, and secondly hope there's no additional injuries picked up during the internationals. For the captaincy in Gameweek 31, assuming Harry Kane were to come into my side this week, then of course he'd be a strong contender for the armband, with him, Son or Mo Salah the only 3 in my considerations. Looking at the form of the players, there's arguably no player in better form right now than Harry Kane, who over the last 4 game weeks has the most shots, the most big chances, the most goals and the highest XG. Incredibly, in that time, despite being way ahead for goal threat, Kane has also still created 5 big chances as well, with an expected assist tally of 2.75, also the league's highest amongst all players in all positions. And that truly is an impressive stat, showing that Kane is playing out of his skin at the moment, offering ridiculous assist potential in addition to his already huge goal threat. What I've also got to consider here though, is that in those last 4 game weeks, Kane has played 450 minutes while Salah only 178, so the stats are obviously a bit skewed here. Despite Salah's form dropping off a little, at least for his standards, in the last 4 game weeks, he still managed the same shots inside the box as Harry Kane, despite playing less than half the minutes. So providing he starts against Watford at home, an opponent he boasts an excellent record against by the way, he could very well put them to the sword. It's also important not just to consider the player's form, but of course also the form of the opponent. And this is where the slight reluctancy to captain Harry Kane sneaks in for me. Since Eddie Howe joined Newcastle, and above all since they strengthened in January, the Toon have been a very hard team to beat. In fact, they haven't conceded more than one goal since Gameweek 18, clearly a tough team to break down of late. If they are to sit in and try to frustrate this Tottenham team that have blown very hot and cold in recent weeks, that's where my concern in captaining Kane lies. Since the closing of the January transfer window, in other words the last 9 game weeks, Newcastle have conceded 7 goals whilst Watford have conceded 19. A big difference. With Kane not guaranteed to be in my side come the deadline, for now the captaincy does sit with Mo Salah, but it's a very tight call which I'll be weighing up during this break. Son Heung-min is obviously an explosive option and worthy of consideration in his own right, but without penalties in his locker, it's unlikely I'd trust him with the armband over the other two, especially with Mo Salah and Kane having superior underlying stats. So that's everything discussed for my team in this very early team selection video. Apologies once again that I've had to upload this video so early, but I simply won't be around to make the video next week. On this occasion, I'll be sure to post the final team not just on Twitter, but also on the YouTube community tab as well. Good luck to you all in Game Week 31, FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all very soon.